Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to today's World of Warships video where we are featuring the best Tier 8 premium destroyer in the game, the USS Kidd. Now there's a lot of premiums in the game, premium ships in many tiers and premium accounts. So for all of you who play this without any of those, it is because of the premium ships and premium accounts that you're able to play this game for free. Now, there has been problems where people just go, and myself included, spend a whole heap of money willy-nilly on premium ships because they think that they'll help them win. Well, that's not true. What will help you win is learning the game and learning how to beat the game as it is in each of the metas that come out. So when we're buying premium ships, we want to make sure that we are getting our money's worth for the ship that we are purchasing. There are some premiums out there that are just overpriced and they're not worth it. The Kidd, in the current meta, or any meta really, because the Kidd is just awesome, is the Tier 8 destroyer to buy. If you're a destroyer captain, I recommend buying this ship. Now the Kidd has 527mm dual purpose mounts, which means that her AA will always be strong, because it can't, unless you lose one of your dual purpose mounts, then you're going to have really good AA for the entirety of the battle. Yes, you can lose mid-range and short range, sorry, not use, but overall your AA is going to remain quite effective. Now in this battle I haven't got a full AA build on this ship. Now if I did have a full AA build, I would I'd love to see what that would be like, but it's just not necessary. You don't really need it. Now the Kidd has one torpedo tube. She's a Fletcher class destroyer with only one, yes, not two, because she gives that up for the extra AA firepower plus a heal. Now the heal is what makes this ship just the best destroyer, because she can brawl with enemy destroyers, and you get in there and you get them off the cap, and that's what you want to do as a destroyer. You want to bully things off the cap. Now you don't really need to worry about your torpedoes as much. They're Benson class destroyer torpedoes. They have the 9.2 kilometer range, and there's only 5 of them. Now they're just used for emergency or to cordon off a position that you think an enemy ship is going to go to. It's the guns that make this ship so good. So, as you can see with the Vetchkin, I'm running the survivability expert on a Vetchkin, and his special skill one of his special skills gives you more health on survivability expert than on anyone else, and it just makes the Kidd even tankier than usual, because the survivability expert skill affects how much you can actually heal back. Now I go to get out of the cap here. I've capped it. There's a whole heap of ships coming, but then I've been talking to my CV here. You can see that King, Howie and I are in a division, and it's quite an effective division. We played a lot of games that night and we won them in this division. And having an aircraft carrier around meant that yes, I was going to always be in an aircraft carrier game, but the Kidd is just made for it. It's just amazing when it comes to anti-air. And then having King on my side was really helpful, and then I had to compliment our Shikaku in this game. He played very well, and I stayed alive a lot because of him. So we come back to the cap. We've smoked up. Now we've got the cap, yes, but we want to make sure we keep the cap. So the last thing that we want is this enemy battleship pushing through. But as you can see, even though I'm hitting him and I'm not getting any resets, and it's because of the Icarus over there. So I launch these torps that aren't on the white line, I know that, but I'm expecting him to turn in a little bit, because usually when you are facing against the smoke screen you don't keep going broadside because there could be torps on the way. So I turn my attention to the Icarus. And Icarus, this poor little tier 6 versus a tier 8 Kidd, and he's having a hard time. He's got both aircraft carriers on top of him there, plus he's got a Kidd, which is a tier 8 destroyer, and I love the blind fire. You can't just park up like that, buddy. There's a double strike. It's always good to get some heroic medals. And we don't sit in the smoke long. You never sit in the smoke long because we always know that there's going to be torpedoes. And a broadside Icarus like that, there was only one thing that he was doing. So we saw the torpedoes there and we avoided them. And now we're going to move on to the next cap. We defended our cap here. So off we go. Now you can play this type of play with any destroyer. The Fletcher at tier 9, which is the same sort of build as the Kidd, although she doesn't have as strong AA and she has 2 torpedo launchers. And the Benson the same. The Benson Benson's okay. She gets tier 8 matchmaking, which is pretty bad usually. It usually goes up into tier 10 and that's what makes the Benson have a rough time. But the Kidd, which is tier 8, handles tier 10 easily, and it's all because of the heel, allowing you to brawl with enemy ships. A 5.8 kilometer surface detection allows you to get close enough to deal with enemy destroyers quite easily. Now these little things here, we're coming up against an Asashio here. Asashio is another tier 8 premium destroyer, and Asashio is only really effective in a battleship heavy meta. Now if there's not many battleships, she can't do too much, but when there is, she's quite dangerous, so you need to get rid of them. If you're playing with lots of battleships, make sure you get rid of the Asashio pretty quickly. So she smokes up and tries to run. We're just going to go dark. We've got our RPF here, or RL as it is now, radio location. As you can see, that white bar in the center of my screen, center upper part of the screen, that's my radio location. So it's telling me in the general direction that the Asashio is. Now the radio location works by pointing to the square that the enemy ship is in. It doesn't actually point to the enemy ship per se. It's the grid that the enemy ship is in. So if you see it swapping around a bit, she's moving between grids, so which is really nice and handy to know. And here we go, we see some of the AA. The anti-air on this ship is what is just great. You can frustrate enemy aircraft carriers so well. I mean, look at this. So we've got 8 kills in that last bit there where we just shot them down. Now it gets quite hectic over here. You hear a lot of aircraft coming around. I'm trying to make sure that, because we have an Asashio on our flank, so I'm not worried about torpedoes from him because they can't hit me. They can only hit battleships and aircraft carriers, so you don't ever have to worry about Asashio torpedoes when you're in a destroyer or even a cruiser. But because of all the aircraft going around me, you just got to keep your eye out all the time. One thing that we want to do when we're playing is also keep an eye on the minimap. You can see my closest support is the Charles Martel. He's just too far away to help me. Everyone's too far away to help me, really. The only thing that's over the top of me is the aircraft carriers. Now, the best part about being in the division is that I had King talking to me the whole game. I was letting him know what I was going to do. He was letting me know how he was going to help me out. The other good thing is that the Shikaku here, he was just with us the entire time. He saw that how King and I were operating really well, and then he went and did what he had to do. Now, one thing you can do as a destroyer captain in this current meta is talk to your aircraft carrier. It can be a bit hard on, say, the Asia server, for example, because of the different language barriers over the entirety of the server, which is quite large. I'd imagine that they may have that sort of problem in Europe every now and then. I mean, if you're in England and you can only speak English and then there's someone from Poland playing, that would get a little bit confusing. But if you can communicate with your aircraft carrier as a destroyer, especially if you're the only destroyer in the game, then you're going to have a pretty good time. Even if the aircraft carrier rework has made it so that you don't have to be the greatest aircraft carrier player in the game to be able to be effective. As long as you do your job, help get rid of the destroyers, and after the destroyers are done, help take out the ships that can take out your destroyers. Now, Lucky for me, King is a pretty good CV player, so I knew that I was always going to have good support. Some of us aren't that lucky, especially when you play solo. So, just trying not to overextend as a destroyer is something that's really helpful. And as you can see, the heal on the Kidd here, sorry, not the Kidd. Kidd's one of our clan mates. The heal on the Kidd means that I can do things a little bit more riskily than I usually would, you know. Get out here and attack a North Carolina with my guns and try to set fires on him. The AP would work quite well here, but I'm just, as you can see, I'm trying to hit the superstructure there. Just trying to set some fires on him. Setting fires on players just annoys them, especially if you get multiple fires and then they have to put out the fire all the time. And once they've used their damage control party, then you just go ham on them and set more fires. So this is the idea of what I'm trying to do here, and I finally get one. Now, RNG is not always that good. So we've got 45 planes at the moment. Now remember I said that this is a non-AA build in this game. I wouldn't mind testing out the AA build. It'd be quite effective. As you can see here, there's 45 planes already shot down. So we're going to have a bit of an AA fest in a second. I start firing at the enemy Shikaku. This is the last ship actually in the game that I end up firing at. And spoilers, someone takes my kill. I know. But this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the AA damage in this. I just shot down 9-10 planes easily. And that's the last of my defensive fire, so it's powerful. Very powerful. So if you're worried about playing in the current meta with all the anti-air and you don't like playing high, and at the moment I really don't like playing tiers 8, 9, 10, even 7 and 6 and 5 because of the constant anti-aircraft. But the Kidd deals with, these are 2 tier 8 anti-aircraft carriers here, and the Kidd has dealt with them quite well. When you come up against 2 tier 6 anti-aircraft carriers, sorry, the Kidd is just an absolute monster, just absolutely wrecks them. So with this destroyer, you're not really going to be too worried about playing high. I haven't been too worried about playing high lately because I've been playing my test ships as a privateer. It's pretty cool. I get to use some of the test ships. Unfortunately though, under the rules for the privateer, I can only share screenshots with you of the ship. I can't actually show you videos, so it's not too bad. At least I get to test them out. See, there we go. We got 74 plane kills in this game with the Kidd. It's a destroyer, and you've got 74 plane kills. That's just no worries there. You don't need to worry about CVs when that happens. Anyway, the time ticks out and we get the victory. As you can see there, 2833 base XP, easy on top. In fact, so far on top that I just left everyone else in that game behind. So let's have a look at my current Kidd build. As you can see, my Ovechkin captain is only 14 points. I've had him for a while and just haven't been able to train him up because I haven't been interested in playing destroyers. But this destroyer is just awesome at it. Now, you can run all premium consumables. You can go engine boost if you want, but I run the defensive AA because the Kidd is already fast enough. Main armaments mod 1 to keep those guns working. Main auxiliary armaments mod 1 would also be viable if you want to run a full AA build. Propulsion mod, because your engine can get wrecked pretty easily. Sorry. Aiming systems mod 1, I do that for a bit more accuracy, but AA guns mod 1 would also be viable with a full AA build. I run the propulsion mod on all my destroyers because I just find it's a lot better, especially if you're going to be using smokes or if you need to get in behind an island quickly. Steering gears though is viable if you want to use that, and the only one here is concealment system mod 1 because you want to get down to your 5.8 kilometer detection. So I run The priority target, as always, to find out how many people are shooting at us, and then last stand, it's always last stand, there's nothing else that you should be running. When it comes to your destroyers, now survivability expert with the Vetchkin, because it's so powerful, I'd run it anyway as my 3-point skill. Then you have your concealment expert and radio location, because that information is so valuable, that extra information. Superintendent will be something that I go to run later on. The preventative maintenance is also really good. So, and then it's up to you really. I mean, BFT will be great because you buff your guns, so you're going to turn your ship into it. Yes, and a little AA monster, but also a rapid firing little AA monster. She's a great brawler. The heal just keeps her alive, and it's such a good ship. I haven't got any words really for how good this ship is, because it does so many different roles. It's my tier 8 ranked ship that I use because it brawls really well. It's a great ship in randoms because of the AA defense, and just make your life better and aircraft lives a nightmare. Anyway guys, this is a tier 8 premium, or A premium, that I absolutely recommend. I don't recommend too many. And thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.